The following broadcast contains mature themes and disturbing subject matter. Viewer and listening discretion is strongly advised. Greetings and welcome back to my channel for a breaking news update as of 3 hours ago, and it is circulating through the airwaves. Now, again, give yourselves a round of applause for making it to and through another day, keeping in mind each day is a blessing. So please try, amid everything that's going on, to find something to be grateful and joyful about. Without further delay, let us get into this breaking news story. Now, many people, including myself, as I've mentioned over and over and over again, I am here in the DMV and I've covered this story. I've retraced steps. I went to the services. I've been to the courthouse. I've been in the thick of it, and it gives me great pleasure to announce that 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez, 35 years old, who was accused of taking the life of the beautiful 19-year-old Da'Cara Thompson of Prince George's County, Maryland, was indicted today, Tuesday, October the 7th, 2025. Again, he was officially indicted on charges of, again, a red rum, tampering with physical evidence, and bearing or disposing a body in an unauthorized place. Now that's a little bit different, so let's ponder on that, and let's remember for a moment Da'Cara Thompson. Now, for those of you unfamiliar, Da'Cara Thompson left out of her father's home on August 22nd to get gas. She was reported missing, however, on August 23rd, a day that she was last seen at a gas station in Hyattsville, Maryland. Surveillance footage shows her approaching a black SUV in the early morning hours, speaking with the driver, and then getting into the vehicle. The SUV was later traced to a home in the 12,000 block of Cambridge Drive. And boy, again, I was on that street, extremely quiet, but a lot of wooded area there, and the neighbors were shocked. Detectives searched the residence on September the 4th, and they assert that they found evidence indicating that Thompson's life was taken there in a bedroom in the home. Her body was discarded off of a Route 50 bridge about 7 miles away, according to the police. Now, again, I still have questions, and while this formal indictment is a step, and thank you and kudos to you, the state's attorney, for the indictment today, but there are still a lot of unanswered questions. Still a lot, because as I said, I went out after midnight, parked my car at the corner of Jasmine and Riggs, right near the fire hydrant, and walked past the Family Dollar, and then over to the Galaxy nightclub where it was alleged that Hugo Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez was supposed to meet an ex-girlfriend, but he didn't. And according to reports, and again, I implore you to conduct your own thorough, meticulous research. When the questions continued to come, he decided he wanted to speak to a lawyer. So again, here's a picture of 35-year-old Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez. Again, he has been charged with first and second degree taking of the life of 19-year-old Da'Cara Thompson. Again, let me put her picture up again. Beautiful, beautiful young lady. Now, Carmen Thompson, the mother of Da'Cara, has said, "My daughter was an amazing girl. She just had a bright future ahead of her." Carmen, as I mentioned, her mother said, "It's just unfortunate that her life ended long before we were able to see the greatness that was to come from her in the future." Immigration officials confirmed that Hernandez Mendez is a Guatemalan native who has lived and worked in the United States illegally for over 3 years. Now, again, those of you that are familiar with this story, this horrible story, you're aware that according to reports, there were sounds coming out of his room that appears that a man and woman, even though she was 19, were engaged in a relationship. But on the woman's part, it did not sound as though she was enjoying herself. That could mean many things, but again, that was an account from the room. Many people have questioned, was that really what you thought you heard? In other words, a physical relationship or entanglement, or was it her struggling? Because according to reports, there there was a fingernail, a piece of hair that would indicate signs to me as a struggle. So, what were you listening to? Her being unalived, and you did nothing? So again, there are so many questions. I still question till this day, why would the police suggest that Takara's vehicle that was parked in the opposite direction be moved back to her father's home? There are questions why she was not listed as critical missing. So I hope that these changes, again, County Executive Aisha Brave Boy, that's another story, has declared September 23rd to be Da'Cara Thompson Day. But again, does that mean that young people or people who deviate from their normal patterns and they go missing, that changes are made so they can be listed as critical missing? And these stories are told timely. So much time, again, passed before a lot of people knew about this. And then a body was found on August the 31st. There were fears that it was the body of Da'Cara Thompson, but it wasn't confirmed until later. On September the 4th, a search warrant was obtained for the Bowie home, and then on the 5th, Hugo Hernandez Mendez was arrested and charged. 19-year-old Da'Cara Thompson was laid to rest or remembered on September 23rd, 2025. So, again, for those of you not familiar with the story, this is what has been shown. Carmen Thompson says that she wants the passing, and yes, I'm ad-libbing, of Da'Cara to be vindicated and for not to have passed in vain for something that could have been prevented. And Miss Carmen Thompson has said this several times, something that could have been prevented. Because remember, according to reports, Hugo had a brief stint with U.S. Park Police where he was arrested allegedly for DUI, but somehow or another he was let go. Again, huge red flag there. Now they're saying while investigating a disabled vehicle off of Route 50 in Anne Arundel County on August 31st, state troopers found Thompson's body nearby more than a week since she was last reported seen on August 22nd, leaving a gas station in a black SUV. Again, that is not accurate. Unless that is accurate and they did not release this information at the press conference. Again, there are a lot of things that were juggled around. And again, I have a lot of questions. I have my opinions, but out of respect, I'm going to keep mum on some of those until more details come out. The vehicle found in Annapolis didn't belong to Thompson, and it wasn't related to the case. Well, we already know that, again, according to reports, that her vehicle was taken back to the home, and the ideology behind that was, well, wherever she went, when she returned and saw that it wasn't there, maybe that would alert her to call her father or call her mother. Again, that makes no sense because that is a huge piece of evidence. I would think that latent prints would have been lifted from that. But again, who knows? And during the press conference, Aisha Braveboy pointed the finger at the federales and said that any questions in relation to this case should go to them since they basically let Hugo go back in April of 2025. So here's a picture. This is taken from the service. Beautiful service, and again, it's part of the program. Now, again, last month, officials said Hernandez Mendez drove Thompson to his home in Bowie, Maryland, taking her life in the bedroom and then leaving her body in a grassy area off of the highway, where she was later found by investigators. They said a search of his home revealed evidence that She lost her life in his bedroom. So again, number one, that this is not his home. He was renting a room there. The house, from my own digging, is a rental. And it is believed to me that it is not licensed. And if, again, if members of the Prince George's County Department of Permitting, Inspection, and Enforcement would do their due diligence and look at some of these homes that are being rented, you might find a lot of things that are illegal being done. The owner is a 62-year-old male who lives in another county, and he has charges against him, municipal charges, for having a lot of vehicles, unregistered vehicles, basically vehicles that are not quite right in his driveway. And again, I'm just being straight when I say this, but I want to be politically correct. There are certain populations that are known for having a lot of vehicles in and around their driveway or nearby. You can see this in Riverdale, Maryland. You can see this in Hyattsville, Maryland. You can see this in certain places in Silver Spring, Maryland. So these are actually facts. They're not anything that people should be offended by. These are facts. So again, go figure. Do your research. There's a lot out there if you pay attention. And again, County Interim State's Attorney Tara Jackson said in a statement Tuesday, which is today, that today's indictment of Hugo Hernandez, or Hugo Rene, can't forget that, Hernandez Mendez indictment marks a critical step in the criminal justice process. But again, are there other details that you all are just not releasing yet to establish some things? Again, I understand, but a lot of people have questions. Thompson, Da'Cara Thompson, was described by Prince George's County Executive Aisha Braveboy, who just got engaged, and she was born from parents who migrated here from Grenada. Just wanted to make people aware of that if they didn't know. As a good woman who wanted to do good for her community, Da'Cara Thompson was also a participant in the Maryland Governor Wes Moore's 2023 Service Year Option, which places young adults in service positions in an area of interest with the hope of helping them prepare for a future career. One of the things that is a little bit different, they mentioned common law red rum. Now, I have seen many, many things on many, many pleadings, and I have heard many things, but I'm the first to tell you, I don't know everything, and I yearn for knowledge. So, again, I never heard of common law red rum. So, I looked at what the elements of common law red rum are, and it's an unlawful taking of one's life. It must be without justification. Example, self-defense or excuse. Insanity. That right there, again, I'm not going to say too much, but that element right there tells me that there's a blueprint about to be laid. So let's mark that. And you're welcome to screenshot these for those of you that are interested in this case because it's far from over. His next court appearance will be October the 8th. Again, the next court appearance for HUGO Hernandez Mendez will be October the 8th, 2025. Next element, human being. The victim must be another human being. Number 3. Yep, that's what looks like they are trying to do, and I understand. Malice afterthought. This is the crucial mental element. It can be established in one of 4 ways. Express malice, the intent to take one's life. The defendant had a direct intention to cause the loss of life. Again, I'm going to read that. Express malice. The defendant had a direct intention to take her life. Next element, the intent to commit grievous bodily harm. The defendant intended to inflict a serious injury that resulted in the loss of life. These are the things that they're going to have to prove. Depraved heart. Again, I'm going to have to study and research these, but again, I see the blueprint that's being laid, the foundation that's being laid. Depraved heart. Implied malice. The defendant acted with extreme recklessness of a depraved indifference to the value of human life. I'm going to assume that the fact that he allegedly tossed her or discarded her like nothing will be linked and connected to this element of a depraved heart. Felony, red rum rule. The loss of life occurs during the commission of certain dangerous felonies like burglary, arson, rape. Again, there are only 2 things that I've heard from the autopsy, and those were injuries, head and facial injuries. Was she raped? Quite possibly. And if that is something that did happen and has not been released, or to those on a need-to-know basis, everything will come out in court, I'm sure. Then you have your element there. Or robbery and the intent to commit felony transfers to the intent to take one's life. So again, I'm going to leave that there for a moment so you can see the elements needed for a common law red rum. Very interesting. Again, detectives searched the residence on September the 4th and say they found evidence indicating Thompson lost her life in the bedroom inside of the home. Again, a roommate, allegedly a relative, heard noises. Again, I don't understand why no one said anything. No one intervened to see if whomever that was, and it appears to be that of 19-year-old Da'Cara Thompson. No help was rendered for this woman. And even though 19 is legal, it's still not grown. It's not. Again, according to reports, her body was later discarded off of Route 50 Ridge, about 7 miles away. And if you go off of Cambridge and you make a left on 197, you can go on 50 and you can hit Annapolis that way, which this is absolutely accurate. It is not far at all. As a matter of fact, for those of you that may remember the Beltway snipers, the young man who was injured, and I believe he was one of the only survivors, and that it was either 22 or 23-day span of mayhem, and it was just horrible in Maryland. It actually was in Virginia as well. Those of you again who may remember John Muhammad, and then he was a child at that time, Lee Boyd Malvo. John Muhammad, he was executed for those crimes, and Lee Boyd Malvo has asked for appeal after appeal, but it does look that he will not receive one. But the school in which the young man was injured from these Beltway snipers was Benjamin Tasker, and that is maybe a mile or two from this location in Bowie, Maryland. So again, when I tell you there are so many things, if you just look up cases and crimes in Maryland, and Bowie is a very nice area, but every area, no matter how quiet and peaceful and serene it may be on the outside, there are things that happen, unfortunately. So again, today's news is, and I'm not surprised, that 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez has been formally indicted for taking the life of 19-year-old Da'Cara Thompson of Prince George's County, Maryland, on Tuesday, which is today, October the 7th, 2025. He was officially indicted on charges of taking a life, tampering with physical evidence, and the burying or disposing of a body in an unauthorized place. I do hope that this is truly a step, a positive step for justice for Da'Cara Thompson, her family, friends, and loved ones. Thank you all for tuning in, and remember, the wheels of justice may move slow, but they do move. And let us pray that answers are provided and peace and comfort embrace the Thompson family. Your thoughts and opinions on this indictment and what you think will happen moving forward with Hugo Hernandez Mendez. Will there be laws that place people on a critical missing alert system? And will all resources be exhausted when it comes to cases such as 19-year-old Da'Cara Thompson. Everyone, please be safe. Please be safe, be well, and you know the rest. Be healthier. Until the next video. Bye-bye for now.